Hello and welcome back to WWBTD for the second episode of our mini-series More Than a Para. In our last episode, we touched on the experiences of our very own behavior techs, Shalonda Woods and Ashley Mosley, when they were paraprofessionals. We got a little background knowledge from them, what they missed about the job, what could have made their jobs easier, what had them coming back year after year. And if you folks haven't had a chance to listen to the episode, it is on our website. But today we are going to go deeper and really hone in on how they went from working as paras to where they are today, the journey. Welcome back to you two. Good to see you as always.
Hi. Hello.
Hey. So before we jump in, I wanted to start with a little icebreaker. So if you could see any artist or group, they could be alive or dead, perform live, who would it be? Shalonda.
I'm going to say Tupac Shakur because he was a GOAT in the music industry. And I was just a little too young to go to any of his concerts. So I think he had a big impact then and would have had an even more big impact today. And so I would say Tupac.
I would say, based on my playlist this week, my mood this week, I would say Lizzo, because I feel like Lizzo is a champion in self-love. And, the moments where I need to put a Band-Aid on my self-esteem or my confidence, when I turn her on, I feel untouchable. So I feel like live, it would be even better.
That's sweet. Both great choices. I personally would be into Pink Floyd. What got me into music growing up, and I just think that their performance would be epic even today. Just timeless stuff. But all right, so now that we know each other a little bit better, let's jump in. Ashley, how did you land your job of a para in the first place?
Yeah, so I was working at the zoo. I was right out of high school, and my was two of them. Two of my aunts were paras, and then one of my other cousins just went to be a para. And they're like, it's easy, it's easy. You get the weekends off. I'm 18, so I'm like, okay, week or 17 weekends off, whatever. And so I went and applied to a few schools and landed my first job as a para.
Nice. Wait, so before we move on, I'm sorry. The zoo. What animals did you take care of?
No, I wasn't. That's what people always say. I worked the ice cream cart and I did it really well. It was actually a whole stand. They knocked it down. But
Wow, good stuff. Okay, Shalonda, what about you? How'd you land your job as a para?
I had returned back to Colorado after college and was just needing to find a job. And my aunt, who worked for Denver Public Schools, had referred me to her supervisor, who I guess was looking for a para. And she interviewed me on a Saturday, which was really odd. And I had the job. So, that was my way of getting this that position at the time.
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of fell into it. So what we touched on in our last episode, when you both started, neither of you had any training, which must have been pretty tough and kind of intimidating, I imagine. But there was a teacher, right? Thinking back to your first days as a para, were they able to give you guidance and kind of show you the ropes of how to do your job? Shalonda, you want to start us off?
There wasn't any training. I remember being placed in a classroom and I was told it was going to be a temporary placement, which was in a Spanish ECE class, which I speak no Spanish. I remember I was wearing heels and a dress. I was very professional. And all I remember was just how excruciating, lunch duty was. And I would never wear heels and dress to be a parent in an ECE classroom lunch duty ever again. So, there was never any training. I just knew that I had a job description. I followed it very well. I followed the direction of my teacher, and it just kind of worked out.
Okay, cool. So just kind of getting used to it as you went on. Ashley, what about you? Was the teacher able to give you any guidance despite, not having training?
In my first position as a para, I'd say no. I more so relied on, so I was in an MIS classroom and there were 3 other paras in there. And they really kind of like took me under their wing. And they're the ones who like told me what I needed to know. This is how we do this. This is what you need. This, it, of course, it changed in different positions, but in that first position, it was more so the other paras in the classroom who showed me the way.
Right, right. That's a good point. How did your relationship with the teacher impact your first year as a para? And is having that relationship important, Ashley?
Um, it's weird because I would say that first year or that first position really, again, it was almost like, I wouldn't want to say separate. That's not the word I want to use, but it was like us as paras, we were one part and then there was a teacher. And although we did have a relationship with her, and she was there, it was just it did almost feel like 2 different worlds in a sense. And I realized how important the relationship with the teacher was once I did go into my other 2 positions, especially my final position in AN. The relationship with the teacher was imperative for us to be able to help our students succeed.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. Shalonda, what was your experience? How did the relationship with the teacher impact you at first?
My first year, the teacher was really awesome. She knew I knew nothing, but was great when it came to recognizing my strengths and giving me direction with the children. I felt comfortable. It built my confidence moving forward in that position. So I would definitely say the relationship is key, especially when there's no training or real guidance, with the teacher alone, just having that relationship and her recognizing, like I said, my strengths and being able to direct me. I was good.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Feeling seen and valued, for what you're good at. I'm sure that made the job so much easier, right? Yeah. Did you have to adjust how you worked with different teachers or even other paras in the classroom? Because I know you both have worked in multiple programs, ranging from autism rooms to AN, with several different teachers, some not even staying in the same program more than a year. So, yeah. So, how did you have to adjust with those different adults, Ashley?
You definitely have to adjust, because like we're all people, we're all different, and there's different personalities. So, um, yeah, there was a lot of adjusting happening, and not necessarily in a bad way. Just knowing, like after you start to build that relationship with the people who you're working closest with, um, you start to know, okay, it's better for me to approach this person this way or this person this way, or I can kind of step back with this person, or you definitely, just based on relationship, how to, I'm losing all my words, but you know what I mean.
Sure. Shalonda, what about you? Did you have to adjust how you worked with different teachers and other paras?
I think there's always going to be some adjusting because everyone's way of doing things is, or running their classroom is different.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I say the relationship is key to building that healthy environment for yourself and the students. I do remember, everything just kind of being, what's the word I'm looking for? Awkward. I guess it was awkward. And so, definitely I had to adjust. Like I said, I didn't speak Spanish. The kids were teaching me so much and I was learning at the same time. So, yeah, you definitely are going to have to adjust to some things.
Sure. What skills did you have to learn, kind of moving from just thinking, maybe depending on what classroom you were in, maybe you have to adjust different skills. Just kind of reflecting on that, Ashley, what did you think? What skills did you need?
Absolutely, flexibility. That was a huge one in every classroom because again, kids are not robots. So like I had to learn each kid and figure out how to best like okay, so and so likes this, so I'm going to use this in a lesson or so and so, so like I think flexibility was huge because you never know what the day will look like. And also for me, the biggest skill I learned was initiative, because in I learned very quickly that there were times that I would have to step in and make an executive decision, especially because in a lot of classrooms that I was in, we're not always in that classroom. We're going from space to space. Sometimes I'm by myself with the student or whatever, in a classroom. And so I really had to learn how to make decisions without someone telling me what to do or how to do it.
What about you, Shalonda? What skills did you have to learn?
I would have to say for sure that age group patience was a big part that we needed in order to teach. Communication was huge, in between me, the teachers, the staff, being able to think critically, just critical
Yeah.
thinking, which really allowed me to consider what was the best way to go about teaching things, or what were the interests of my students, and while working within their schools and the goals they're trying to obtain, the standards. I think, yeah, critical thinking, communication, and the biggest one, patience, was probably some of the skills that I picked up.
Yeah.
Wow. And so do you feel like those skills that you all just mentioned or that you both just mentioned, did that help you get to where you are today? Ashley.
Absolutely. I've said before, like I am no way near the same person that I was. Of course I shouldn't be. I was, 17, 18 years old when I got into, so I shouldn't be the same person, but the things that I had to teach myself, like the things that weren't natural to my personality, or natural to my way of being, the things that I had to learn, um, the things that I saw, the things that I just experienced, it definitely, all of those skills definitely led me to where I am today. I am not the same person, at all.
Right. Shalonda, what about you? Do you feel like those skills are applicable to where you're at or how you got to where you are today?
Oh, definitely. And I'm still working on those skills every day. One thing about that time in 2009 at ECE classroom as a pair is I had a 6-month-year-old child. And it prepared me for early childhood teaching with my own child. Those skills prepared me to be the mother and wife that I am today and in the position I am in today. So yeah, definitely.
Right.
Amazing. Was there any point in while you were working as paras that you didn't feel like you could advocate for your students, or did you ever feel silenced in certain moments? Shalonda.
Oh yeah, of course. But that didn't stop me. Um, I just think a lot of times, as pairs, our positions aren't looked at as, not to say that they're not important, but we don't really have a whole lot of say in things. Like I said in our last recording, there's a lot of times when we're not even welcomed into those meetings where decisions are being made that are important regarding our students. And, so I think that um, that kind of was an opportunity for us to be able to voice our opinions and address some of the concerns we were seeing and having, and just not being, welcomed into those meetings, kind of kept us from being able to step up and speak or advocate for our kids.
Hmm. Did you find other ways to advocate, or were you feeling a little bit helpless in those moments?
No, I always found opportunities to advocate for our kids, and working closely with the school liaison and just having that relationship with the parents. I found my way to be able to, support our kids in other ways.
Oh, that's great. So just another opportunity to be a little creative. Although how nice would it be to be included in those meetings, right? I mean, the kids sometimes better than the teachers in some cases.
Right.
Ashley, what about you? Anything you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, just the absolutely. And I think like looking back, because there are things that I look back on and I'm like, wow, who I am now, like going back, I absolutely would say more or stand up and my way, my way of doing it, when I didn't know how, but I knew that they needed to be protected, was kind of attaching myself to the students and say, okay, no, stay near me, stay by me. And, I got you, or here, I'm going to coach you through this. No, come, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't necessarily me feeling like I can stand up and say something. And were there times that I did? Absolutely. And sometimes, it may have gotten heated, and not saying that anybody had ill intentions. I think what it is that, and what I've learned now and what I've come to recognize is that this is a system, and there are some things that were happening, that were just a part of this system, that everyone was functioning in, including myself. And so some things, it's like, oh, I guess, especially when you don't know, right? When you don't have the training, you don't know. It's like, is this the way we do things? Is this the way things go? And it, looking back, I would say like that feeling of not being able to stand up and advocate is, or feeling like you can't, feeling silenced is, a deeper, I guess, symptom of being within a system that doesn't always work for our kids.
Right. You touched on something big, something that I know as a team we're trying to slowly peel back the layers to and really address some of these systemic issues. Um, but I hope that, in through these conversations that we're having, that we can kind of bring these things to light. I mean, we we should be here for our students first, right? And if that means including paras in certain discussions because they have something valuable to bring to the table, I don't see why that shouldn't be something to adopt,
Right.
right? Yeah. So very good points. Thank you, Ashley. So I did want to end on a little bit of a positive note. What are the perks of being a para? Were there any opportunities to move up, Shalonda?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And it was just an awesome opportunity, just being able to meet the majority of the kids in the school and build relationships that were meaningful. I love the para appreciation days. The gifts are always awesome. Just having summers and holidays off just allowed me the flexibility to be able to just do things in my personal life, travel, and like you said, the lifelong skills, like I'm still using them today. And so, yeah, there's definitely some perks to being a para.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The breaks off. I'm in love with the school schedule.
Right.
I'm going back to be a school psych. I don't want to give it up. So I feel Ashley, what about you?
I 100% agree. I think first and foremost, like the relationships. There are people that I have met these past years in DPS, that will be a part of my life forever. That's adults and kids, people who I will always, I like to say I'm a collector of people. So there are some people that I have collected along the way, and I'm like, you're stuck with me. I'm sorry. And also, also just, yeah, the journey, like the journey. I feel strongly that this journey, that I've had has been, key to me walking into what my purpose is, what my calling is, what I'm here to do. And so just all the little gems I've collected along the way have really been amazing for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's exactly what it should be. I think I agree. The relationships I've gained at DPS are invaluable, both students and adults. So I hear you. And there you have it, folks. We got some real stories from real people, bringing to light some of the backstories of paraprofessionals. We will continue this discussion in a couple of more episodes of our mini series, More Than a Para. And thank you for tuning in to WWBTD. Thank you again, Shalonda, Ashley. My name is Kate. See you next time.